You're telling me they did what? First Archival Officer KTH Neve nearly spilled his 7th cup of crystallized neutron juice across the hollow screen. With all due respect, sir, Junior Archist Pel Maravisi said, her temporal senses flickering nervously, I verified the data streams 3 times. The humans, they've actually done it. I remember that moment with startling precision, likely because I was the unfortunate senior documentation specialist wedged between these two during what would become the most ludicrous revelation in our 50,000-year history of monitoring Earth. Pardon my manners. I am J.H. Zara Tixall, and this is the tale of how humanity managed to make every advanced civilization in the galaxy collectively facepalm. Let me start from the beginning. You see, we Zixtharians have been Earth's designated observers since humans first discovered how to make fire without singeing their own eyebrows. Quite the milestone, considering how often they still manage to do exactly that with their cooking experiments. Cough YouTube fails cough, but the implications. Croth was now levitating 3 feet above his gravity chair, his bioluminescent spots flashing erratically, our species' equivalent of a full-blown panic attack. Do you understand what this means for the universal communication protocols? Cleared my throat. Perhaps we should approach this rationally, sir. The protocols are explicit, Croth interrupted, flailing all 4 of his upper 4 appendages in what humans might describe as jazz hands gone terribly wrong. All species must establish clear, coherent communication methods before they can join the Galactic Federation. We've been waiting for them to refine their languages, develop proper translation matrices, and establish. They've decided to use memes, Celera interjected, her holographic display now showing what would soon become the most infamous transmission in Galactic Federation history. The silence that followed was so absolute, I swear I could hear the quantum fluctuations in the room's background radiation. Humanity, apparently exasperated by traditional linguistic barriers, had chosen an unconventional path. Instead of refining translation algorithms or striving for linguistic uniformity like every other reasonable species, they created what they called the Universal Meme Language, or UML. Not to be mistaken for Unified Modeling Language, which, amusingly, they were equally terrible at. Their first official galactic transmission wasn't a meticulously crafted diplomatic communique or a mathematical sequence proving their intelligence. No, it was an assortment of cat videos, distracted boyfriend memes, and something referred to as a rickroll. Each element was meticulously curated to convey nuanced diplomatic messages. Take a look at this section, Pelmara said, highlighting a specific part of the transmission. They're expressing their intent for peaceful first contact using a series of wholesome memes featuring Good Guy Greg and Success Kid. Crotha's eye stalks sagged in utter despair. The High Council will never accept this, Croth groaned, his tone tinged with disbelief. They're expecting formal communications, not a dramatic GRU presentation meme explaining their proposed trade agreements. I tried and failed to suppress my amusement. But here's what's truly baffling. Despite every logical argument against it, their absurd collection of internet culture somehow conveys meaning more effectively than any traditional first contact message we've ever received. The emotional depth, the shared experiences, the universal scenarios, it surpasses every language barrier we know. Wait until you see how they've outlined their governmental structure, Pelmara said, her voice trembling with barely contained mirth, our species' closest equivalent to laughter. They've used something called Kingdom Hearts memes to explain their intricate political alliances. That's actually ingenious, I admitted, as we watched a complex international coalition effortlessly summarized by a wait, it's all Ohio? Always has been meme. Croth collapsed into his gravity chair, his 7 eyes blinking asynchronously in sheer exasperation. We've spent millennia refining universal translators, perfecting xenolinguistics, and crafting sophisticated communication matrices, and humans just turned the galaxy into a meme-sharing network. The council meeting is in one rotation, I reminded him gently. He muttered under his breath, how do I tell the High Council that humanity's first official galactic transmission includes something called Doge, explaining their quantum physics breakthroughs? Very science, much quantum. Wow, Pelmara quipped, earning a glare from Croth that could have incinerated a lesser being. As we compiled the formal report for the council, none of us could have foreseen what lay ahead. This was merely the opening act of humanity's flamboyant debut into galactic society, and, believe me, it only got more ridiculous from there. But what unsettled me most? I was beginning to understand their memes, and worse, I was starting to find them funny. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Federation was traditionally a space of solemn quietude, occasionally interrupted by the resonant hum of quantum harmonics as various species communicated in their unique ways. Today, however, it buzzed with what humans would undoubtedly recognize as the alien equivalent of stifled laughter. Order! Supreme Chancellor Vex Thorian's crystalline form shimmered colored with commanding rainbow hues. I demand order in this chamber. I stood beside Kroth, who appeared ready to dissolve into his base molecular components. Projected before us in impeccable detail was Earth's first official presentation to the Galactic Federation. The humans had titled it, "Why You Should Let Us Join Your Space Club." No cap, a phrase so baffling that our linguistic experts had spent years deciphering it. As you can see, the human representative's voice echoed through our translators as an accompanying sequence of images began to play. Earth is fully prepared for galactic integration. The presentation opened with a "This is Fine" meme, featuring a dog seated calmly in a burning room. Only, in this version, the flames were replaced by various Earth accomplishments such as solved climate crisis, mostly, achieved world peace around 89% complete, and fixed the internet sort of. A quantum might Delegate's mathematical patterns momentarily destabilized, a phenomenon we had come to interpret as laughter. They're actually serious about this, Kroth murmured in disbelief. Entirely serious, I confirmed, stepping forward as the team's expert. We've reviewed their transmission patterns thoroughly. This is, without a doubt, their most advanced form of communication. They refer to it as God-tier memeing. The chamber erupted into a symphony of reactions. The crystalline consciousness of Rial 7 emitted frequencies that translated to disbelief. The vapor intelligences of Nebula and C7000-318 coalesced in a state we recognized as amusement. Even the usually stoic energy beings from the Carina spiral flickered with what could only be described as suppressed mirth. Then the unexpected occurred. The hive mind of Beta Reticuli, a species that had never successfully communicated with any other civilization due to their profoundly alien thought patterns, suddenly manifested their avatar in the center of the chamber. We understand. Their collective voice resonated, deep and unified. The humans speak truth through playful deception. They extract order from chaos. They really did, Kroth muttered, advancing to a highlighted section of the presentation. They've just used a trade offer meme to outline an interstellar commerce agreement. Exactly, I interjected. Their proposal reads, you get cool Earth stuff like pizza and TikTok dances. We get permission to visit literally any planet we want. We promise not to break anything important. A profound silence descended upon the chamber as the weight of humanity's innovation sank in. What countless years of meticulous diplomatic efforts had failed to achieve, humanity had stumbled upon accidentally. They had created a universal language. Through their peculiar amalgamation of imagery, cultural references, and what they affectionately termed top-tier posting, they had transcended conventional communication barriers and unified understanding. There's more, Pel Mara added, her voice trembling, possibly with professional excitement, though it might have been barely contained laughter. They've included a POV series that illustrates their typical first contact scenarios. The projection shifted to a series of short clips, each titled POV, You're an Alien Civilization, and Humans Show Up. The videos featured humanity's space program achievements, each accompanied by what they called epic soundtrack moments. Somehow, even their numerous space program failures were framed as both charming and impressive, enhanced by what they labeled maximum emotional damage music. But their most ambitious achievement, I continued, pulling up the next segment, is their proposal for universal peace. The display transitioned to a sequence of change my mind memes, each tackling major galactic conflicts with solutions that were equal parts absurd and startlingly insightful. Did they just resolve the 1,000-year war between the Proxima Centaur Collective and the Alpha Centaur Alliance with Why Can't We Be Friends compilation? Chancellor Vex Thorian's crystalline form pulsed in flickering disbelief. Yes, Kroth confirmed, his tone a mix of awe and resignation. Both sides have already signed a peace treaty. Apparently, humanity's method of using elaborate meme sequences to throw shade is regarded as a highly sophisticated form of conflict resolution. The mechanoid consortium of Tati, known for their cold logic and lack of emotional expression, raised their collective processing unit. We have analyzed 69,420 variations of human memes, their representative announced. Our conclusion is that humans operate on a level of meta-irony so advanced it transcends conventional comprehension and circles back to genuine sincerity. This is impressive. The humans refer to this phenomenon as based, Palara added, consulting her notes. While the exact meaning remains elusive, our linguistic analysts analysts suggest it carries a positive connotation. As the council continued deliberating, I couldn't help but notice a distinct shift in the chamber's atmosphere. The rigid, formal barriers that usually separated species were dissolving. The crystalline consciousness was sharing what they called relatable content with the vapor intelligences. Meanwhile, the energy beings were attempting to recreate something humans referred to as a viral dance challenge. Perhaps, Chancellor Vex Thorian mused, their hues shifting to a contemplative blue. Humanity has revealed something we have overlooked. In our relentless pursuit of logical perfection, we have neglected the power of shared experiences. Of humor, of meme culture, I interjected helpfully. Indeed, the Chancellor's crystalline form shimmered with resolve. I propose that Earth's application for Federation membership be approved immediately. Furthermore, I suggest the establishment of a new division dedicated to mimetic communication and cultural exchange. Second, echoed a dozen species in unison, several of them already experimenting with species-specific meme formats. As the votes were tallied, I received a priority transmission from Earth. Opening it, I was greeted by a single image. Success Kid, accompanied by the caption, submitted application to space. On God, accepted first try. Requesting permission to literally die right now, Croth muttered as we entered the newly rebranded Meme Supreme Command Center, MSCC, previously known as the dignified Hall of Interstellar Communications. The walls, once lined with advanced quantum transmission arrays, were now covered in an ever-changing display of what humans called God-tier posts. A group of Andromedan light beings huddled in one corner, trying to decode something called dad jokes while consulting a holographic guide titled Comedy 101. How to make the whole squad literally dead. Farrer Pelmara, I called out. She floated into the room, her temporal senses practically vibrating with excitement. You need to see this. The humans have just submitted their first official Federation training program. The holographic display activated, revealing a title that made KTH's bioluminescent spots flash in what I now recognized as existential dread. Intergalactic Diplomacy for Dummies. A comprehensive guide to not looking Seuss among the stars. Play it, I commanded, secretly amused at how quickly the universe was adapting to humanity's unique brand of chaos. The presentation began with a POV slide. You're an advanced civilization meeting humans for the first time. What followed was nothing short of a masterclass in human communication styles. It featured a virgin traditional diplomat versus Chad meme ambassador comparison chart, top 10 ways to avoid intergalactic war, number 7 will shock you. When the alien says they come in peace but they're looking kind of Seuss, a guide to threat assessment and how it started versus how it's going, first contact edition. The worst part, Croth muttered, his 7 eyes glued to the display, is that it's actually working. He wasn't wrong. Within 3 standard rotations of Earth's acceptance into the Federation, interspecies understanding had improved by 420%, a figure that elicited giggles from the human delegates every time it was mentioned, for reasons still unclear to our xenoanthropologists. The crystalline consciousness had already founded a vibe check department dedicated to assessing the emotional resonance of various species through meme analysis. Meanwhile, the vapor intelligences had created something they referred to as cloud humor, transforming themselves into what humans would identify as random meme formats. But none of that prepared us for what happened when the quantum computing collective of Sirius B attempted their first human-style communication. Yam, their transmission began, prompting several human delegates to literally fall out of their anti-gravity chairs in hysterics. Check out this absolute unit of a mathematical proof. What followed was a dazzling series of increasingly complex quantum equations, each illustrated using something called Drake format and galaxy brain progressions. The humans were ecstatic. A proof that had stumped the galaxy's greatest minds for millennia was finally understood, not through traditional mathematical notation, but through a series of images depicting progressively enlightened brains. I don't understand, Croth whispered to me during the 15th standing ovation. How is this better than traditional communication? I was about to respond when an emergency alert blared through our systems. The hive mind of Alpha Centauri, one of the most historically aggressive species in the galaxy, was advancing toward Earth's solar system with what appeared to be hostile intent. Before we could even activate the emergency protocols, Earth's response team had already deployed their secret weapon. They're sending memes, Pelmara said, her voice incredulous as she tracked the transmission. Not just any memes, I realized, analyzing the data stream. They're sending wholesome memes. The hive mind's massive consciousness was inundated with thousands of images showcasing acts of kindness, friendship, and interspecies cooperation. Pictures of cats befriending dogs, videos of unlikely animal friendships, and stories of humans adopting and nurturing creatures typically considered dangerous or unappealing. Wait for it, the human commander said, a sly grin spreading across her face as she activated what she called Phase 2, maximum emotional damage. The next wave was an emotional barrage, consisting entirely of videos showcasing people being reunited with their pets, soldiers returning home to their families, and various other moments humans described as enough to make a grown man cry, and that's okay. The hive mind ship halted abruptly in space. "What's happening?" Croth demanded, his bioluminescent spots flickering nervously. "They're requesting to establish a cultural exchange program," Mara announced, her sensors rapidly processing the incoming data stream. "Specifically, they want to learn how to create what they call wholesome content." The human commander leaned back in her chair, a satisfied smirk spreading across her face. "Works every time," she said. "You can't fight someone after they show you baby animals being friends. It's like against the laws of nature." As I watched the hive mind's enormous fleet transform their weapon systems into what they called recording devices for capturing wholesome moments, a realization dawned on me. Humanity hadn't just invented a new language. They had weaponized empathy through humor, creating a method of communication that rendered the galaxy incapable of hostility. "They've done it again," Mara declared, bursting into my private quantum meditation chamber. I sighed, deactivating my seventh dimensional relaxation field. It had been exactly one galactic standard year since Earth's induction into the Federation, and they had already managed to create at least one major crisis/breakthrough every week. "What is it this time?" I asked, resigned. She hesitated, her temporal senses flickering with the telltale energy of, "You're not going to believe this. They've started teaching quantum physics through something called SpongeBob memes." I stared at her for exactly 3.7 microseconds. "They've what now?" The hollow screen activated, displaying a series of images featuring a yellow, porous creature in various states of emotional distress, each perfectly illustrating complex quantum principles. Schrödinger's equation was represented with a Mr. Krabs blur format. The uncertainty principle was explained using a Patrick star intelligence progression. The Copenhagen interpretation versus many worlds theory was depicted as a Krusty Krab versus chum bucket comparison. "The worst part," Mara continued, "is that the quantum computing collective of Sirius B reports a 4,269% increase in comprehension among their junior processors." Before I could process this revelation, Croth burst into the chamber, his bioluminescent spots glowing with what humans had taught us to call big mood energy. "Have you seen what's happening in the Andromeda Galaxy?" he demanded, not waiting for a reply. "The humans introduced something called vibe check to the crystalline consciousness, and now they're using it for actual diplomatic assessments. The situation was simultaneously worse and better than we could have anticipated." The crystalline consciousness, historically known for their rigid and formal diplomatic protocols, had adopted a completely new approach to evaluating potential allies. They would dispatch a delegation to assess the vibes of other civilizations using what humans referred to as their immaculate perception. "But here's the kicker," Croth continued, pulling up a new projection. "The statistical analysis revealed their diplomatic success rate had surged by over 9,000%, a number that, for reasons still unclear, the humans found endlessly amusing." I was about to respond when our emergency alert system activated. The display showed the vapor intelligences of Nebula NGC 738 attempting to initiate communication with the newly discovered silicon-based life forms of the Kina spiral. Historically, such first contact scenarios carried a 43% likelihood of escalating into interstellar conflict. Instead, we watched, astounded, as the vapor intelligences transmitted a meticulously curated collection of YouTube poop and deep-fried memes. The content, so absurd it defied conventional logic, somehow transcended all barriers of comprehension. The silicon beings' response was instantaneous. They replied with what humans would recognize as a flawlessly executed "no you" meme, followed by an emoji. This emoji had inexplicably evolved into a universal symbol for acknowledging the absurdity of existence while simultaneously accepting it. "They're establishing trade relations," Palara announced, monitoring the subsequent data exchanges through a system labeled STONKS. "Speaking of trade," Kay's Wrath interjected, pulling up yet another hollow screen filled with economic statistics. "Have you seen what's happening with the galactic economy?" The humans, it turned out, had introduced a phenomenon known as meme stocks to the Universal Trade Network. This seemingly irrational system, where value was assigned based on how much something slapped, had somehow ushered in the most stable economic period in recorded galactic history. "The Mechanoid Consortium is particularly baffled," Kay's Wrath continued. "After millennia of perfecting intricate market prediction algorithms, they're now being consistently outperformed by something humans call the diamond hand strategy. But the most groundbreaking development came from an unexpected source. The hive mind of Beta Reticuli, inspired by human meme culture, unveiled a revolutionary form of expression they called collective consciousness shitposting. This involved sharing deeply complex, hive-minded experiences through deliberately absurd mental imagery. Watch this, Pelara said, activating a neural receiver. The transmission defied traditional description but was instantly comprehensible. It was the cosmic equivalent of a bruh moment, encapsulating billions of years of hive mind evolution into what humans might label a chef's kiss meme. We're witnessing the birth of a new form of consciousness, I murmured, transfixed as more species began not only adopting but adapting human meme formats to reflect their own unique identities. They're not just communicating differently, they're thinking differently. Our archive's evidence room was now overflowing with examples of this transformation. The energy beings had devised quantum state memes capable of existing in multiple forms simultaneously. The silicon life forms were now communicating via recursive deep-fried formats, a medium both perplexing and strangely efficient. Even the notoriously literal-minded mechanoids had begun ending their logical proofs with the phrase, "Thank you for coming to my TED Talk." But here's what really keeps me up at night, Kay's Wrath said, pulling up one final projection. Look at what happened when we analyzed the fundamental structure of these meme-based communications. The display revealed a pattern that caused all our senses to spike. The mathematical structure of these memes perfectly aligned with the theoretical equations for universal consciousness that our scientists had been seeking for millennia. Are you saying? Pelmara's voice faltered. Yes, Kay's Wrath confirmed. The humans accidentally discovered the universal theory of everything through posting. You know what's really going to bake your neural pathways? Pelara said, floating into my office exactly 1 decade after humanity's introduction to galactic society. The Ancient Ones have requested an audience. I nearly choked on my quantum coffee. The Ancient Ones? The enigmatic beings said to have seeded intelligent life across the galaxy billions of years ago. They've never, in recorded history, responded to any civilization's attempts at communication, she said, her temporal senses flickering with barely contained amusement. They said, and I quote, "This tea is too hot not to spill." Kay's Wrath, who had just entered the room, promptly stumbled into a gravity well. They're using human slang? Oh, it gets better, I said, pulling up the full transmission. They've been observing our civilizations for eons, waiting for someone to develop what they refer to as elite communication skills. Apparently, humanity's meme language is the closest any species has come to their own method of cosmic discourse. The Ancient One's message appeared on our hollow screens, a masterpiece of multidimensional mimetic communication that rendered even the most sophisticated human posts primitive by comparison. It was, as humans might say, both based and omniscience-pilled. But here's the real kicker, Pelmara added, activating another display. Analysis of their communication method reveals that the entire universe is essentially one giant meme. She wasn't exaggerating. The mathematical patterns underpinning quantum mechanics, the fabric of space-time, and even the fundamental forces of nature all mirrored what humans described as meme formatting. The revelation ignited what humanity would later call the greatest bruh moment in galactic history. Every advanced civilization simultaneously realized that the cosmos itself was built on principles of recursive humor and self-referential meaning, concepts humans had been exploring through their internet culture all along. Wait until you see their response to this revelation, Kay's Wrath said, activating another transmission. The human delegation's reply was a single image. The iconic, always has been, astronaut meme, modified to depict the entire universe with the caption, "Wait, it's all one big meme?" The Ancient Ones responded in kind, crafting their own version of the meme using 11 dimensions and quantum entanglement to create what they called a premium-tier cosmic post. But the real breakthrough came during the first direct conference between humanity and the Ancient Ones. The meeting, broadcast across all known space, began with what would go down as the most legendary exchange in galactic history. Ancient One, "What's up, dog?" Human Ambassador, "Nothing much. What's up with you?" The resulting quantum resonance from the Ancient Ones experiencing their first successful got-em moment caused temporary fluctuations in the fabric of reality across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Look at this data, Pelmara said, displaying the aftermath statistics. Since that exchange, we've discovered 17 new fundamental particles, each named with increasingly absurd meme references. A unified theory of quantum gravity explained entirely through Drake format equations. The secret to faster-than-light travel? Hidden in a Rickroll that actually manipulates spacetime. But more importantly, I added, look at the state of galactic civilization civilization. The screens revealed a universe transformed. The once belligerent hive minds now resolved conflicts through what they called ratio battles. The energy beings had developed vibe-based quantum computing. The crystalline consciousness evolved to communicate solely through what they termed crystal-clear comedy. Even the mechanoids, notoriously humorless, had embraced a sense of humor, though they insisted on calling it logical amusement subroutines. "You know what this means, don't you?" Kay's Wrath said, his bioluminescent spots aligning in the galactic equivalent of the mind-blown meme. That humanity's greatest achievement wasn't faster than light travel, or solving quantum gravity, or even making first contact, Pelmara guessed. Exactly, I confirmed. Their greatest achievement was teaching the universe to laugh at itself. As if to underscore this point, our quantum sensors detected a massive surge of cosmic radiation. The Ancient Ones had just discovered what humans referred to as dad jokes and were testing them across multiple dimensions. "Should we tell them about puns next?" Pelmara asked mischievously. "Let's not destroy reality just yet," Kay's Wrath replied. But from his radiation patterns, I could tell he was already brainstorming some. In my official capacity as senior documentation specialist, I made my final entry in the Great Chronicle. In conclusion, humanity's choice to abandon traditional communication in favor of memes did more than change how we talk. It altered how we think, how we exist, and ultimately, how we comprehend the universe itself. They proved that sometimes, when words fail, the solution isn't more words, it's better memes. As I sealed the Chronicle, a transmission from Earth appeared on my screen. It was a simple image macro. Success kid, with the text, taught aliens to meme. Accidentally solved the meaning of life. I couldn't help but add a comment. No cap. Far.